She could not run all that way, nor swim the crystal, nor would one of the Mira's horses even be fast enough. Her mind raced as she prayed for God to show her the way. And he did, for he brought into her mind a memory of long ago and a song. Yes, perhaps a normal horse would not grant her the speed she needed, but, offering up a prayer of thanksgiving, Autumn took from the pocket of her cloak her silver flute. Her mother gave it to her along with her gift of music. She played a soft, clear melody. It rippled along the wind's waves, and she played until those waves carried back to her ears the sound of a horse neighing. She ceased playing and looked up to see the pure white, silver-hoofed horse galloping through the trees towards her. Her majestic, glistening form shone like a ray of hope as she approached, and Autumn beamed. She was a Zilchus. She was the fastest creature in the world, and she was Flashwing. As Autumn leapt on the smooth back of the horse, she whispered into the creature's ear, "To iridescence, and may God grant us all speed." Flashwing burst off like a flash of lightning. The woods blurred as they passed, as did snatches of red color still flashing in Autumn's mind. Her mother had also passed on a small part of her gift of prophecy to her daughter, and occasionally Autumn saw snatches of colors and shapes, half visions that would not take form. What could those colors mean? Within a couple hours they emerged from the woods and fast approached the crystal. Flashwing did not hesitate upon reaching the lake, but flew upon those silver sparkling hooves over the water, her head raised proudly and triumphantly. For of course, like all Zilches who were before her, she could fly upon those silver sparkling hooves. Finally, the iridescent palace loomed into view before them, yet this time it loomed not as a home to which she was returning, but an enemy's fortress, a prison. A sense of irrevocableness rippled through her. Autumn took a deep breath and breathed a prayer as she prepared to face her sister. "Someone is here to see you, my lady," the guard announced as he entered Summer's chambers and bowed his head. "Can't you see I'm busy?" she hissed, as she looked up at him from the letter she was writing and glared. "Forgive me, my lady, but it is your sister. She claims it is urgent." For a moment, Summer's face displayed a slight sense of amusement, surprise almost. Yet her eyes quickly returned to their icy, emotionless glaze, and she replied sharply, "Well, don't just stand there, fool. Send her in." "Yes, my lady." He backed away and closed the door. As Summer gazed out her window, she smirked maliciously. So the fool has come to petition for her precious people. Yet surely she realizes it is I who finally has the upper hand. As a rap sounded on the door, Summer arose from the window seat and said, "Come in." Autumn entered with an equally cool expression on her face, save that her eyes revealed a tiny glint of fear, and Summer could not resist another smirk. Oh yes, she knows. "Welcome, Autumn. Please, sit." "I do not have time to sit, as I believe you well know," Autumn said curtly. "Yes, Guru told me you have some urgent message," Summer continued coolly. "Care to share it?" "Don't torment me with your pretended ignorance, Summer. You know what message I bear," Autumn hissed. "Tell me what you've done and how they can be cured." "Fine, then," Summer returned, her voice suddenly turning from cool to icy, her eyes flashing fire. "Those people of yours can only be cured with the autumn leaf of their own wood." "But it's only spring. They won't last for 2 seasons. They may not last for 2 more hours. You know that." "Yes, and you know that I would not recoil my curse for a small price. I could ask anything I want of you, anything at all, even that foul-blooded fiancé of yours, and you would have to either give it to me or see them all die. Name your price, and I will give it. You know what I want." For a moment, they stared at each other, Summer's eyes flashing hatred and heartlessness, Summer trying to hold together and not let that gaze overpower her own determined stare. Yet suddenly, those red colors flashed in Autumn's mind again. Suddenly, Autumn understood. She knew what she must do as she replied quietly, "Yes, I know what you want. You want the crown for yourself." Summer held silent, a prompt for Autumn to continue. "And to get that, you must see me dead." More silence. Raising her head and taking a deep breath, Autumn said decisively, "I will give my life in exchange for theirs." "And how will you do this?" "A song." "A song," Summer sneered skeptically. "Yes, you know well the gifts of music and magic I am blessed with. I will compose a song that will allow me to exchange my life for theirs." For a moment, that smirk tugged at Summer's lips. But then the icy, cynical glint returned to her eyes as she asked, "And how can I know you will keep your word? How do I know you will not just go off and marry that filthy half-blood once they have all been healed?" "Because such songs are magical contracts. They cannot be broken," Autumn returned, her eyes flashing a challenging warning. Yet Summer saw too in her eyes that Autumn spoke the truth and replied, "Then let it be as you have said." Summer nodded, a sign Autumn was dismissed, and Autumn nodded in return before exiting the room. Summer watched out her window as Autumn fled upon Flashwing back across the crystal, thinking that she would soon be queen, and after she was, then nothing could stop her from sending the plague back to the Mira. Or perhaps she'd just destroy them with one strike of her magic staff. What a fool her sister was, she thought to herself. What a fool indeed. As soon as Autumn left the palace, her reserve fled from her and she allowed the tears to flow freely as Flashwing soared over the crystal. That was the hardest, most emotionally wrenching thing she had ever had to endure, those piercing eyes, that emotionless stare from her own sister. Yet the heaviness of what she was about to do also weighed upon her. For a moment, the thought of death almost frightened her. She'd certainly never imagined dying at such a young age. Yet at the same time, she would be going to a much better place. She'd be going to heaven forever with her Lord Jesus, and she would be saving the Mira people. Yes, just to see Andy's strong smile again would be worth it. She was doing the right thing, God's will. She need not fear. There was no time to think of herself. As soon as Flashwing's hooves graced Mira land, she began her song. Not on her flute this time, though. Musical contracts must be sung by the one forging them, and so, in her sweet, clear voice, she sang a beautiful yet sad tune, which echoed throughout the silver trees of the Mira wood. Finally, they reached the vale. Autumn slipped off Flashwing's back. She looked up and saw the first red leaf falling. Already, the song took effect. Autumn had come to the Mira. She grabbed the red leaf and several others as they changed color and fluttered from above. Soon she filled her skirt with leaves to overflowing, and yet they continued to change and dance from the trees all around her. She rushed into the vale and gave the leaves to the first woman she saw lying on the ground. Just the scent seemed to revive her enough to chew and swallow the leaf, and soon she sat up, gazing about in a daze, wondering what on earth just happened to her. Autumn quickly explained that all the Mira were still ill, and she must get the leaves to them right away. The woman certainly looked awed that it was autumn already, but she rushed to obey, for there were plenty of leaves on the ground already for her to gather and use. Soon, enough Mira were cured to rush and help all those still in need in the vale. Autumn made her way to the palace, giving leaves to several servants and commanding them to heal all in the palace, then rushing to Andy's room and kneeling at his side. How frail he still looked, barely clinging to life. Yet he took the leaf, and as he slowly chewed, his eyes opened, and he smiled up at her. No sooner did he swallow than color returned to his face, and he said tenderly,